Picture a vast, sparkling expanse of water teeming with life and brimming with resources. This is the South China Sea, a maritime region of immense economic and geopolitical significance. But portion of this large body of water is the West Philippine Sea, which is 200 nautical miles from the west coast of the Philippines. The very act of naming this sea reflects the complex web of historical claims, territorial disputes, and international laws that converge in this volatile region. Understanding the intricacies of the South China Sea and the West Philippine Sea is crucial for grasping the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead for Southeast Asia and the world. This region is not just a geographical entity, it is a microcosm of the global power dynamics of the 21st century. It's a stage where nations grapple with issues of sovereignty, resource allocation, and the very definition of international order. As we delve deeper into the history and legal complexities of this region, we begin to understand why the South China Sea, or the West Philippine Sea, is often referred to as Asia's tinderbox. For centuries, the South China Sea has been a vital artery of global trade. Since time immemorial, the gentle waves of this sea have carried merchant ships laden with spices, silks, and treasures, connecting east and west along the bustling maritime Silk Road. This rich history of trade and cultural exchange has shaped the identities of nations bordering this crucial waterway. But beneath the surface of this seemingly tranquil sea lies a complex tapestry of historical claims and territorial disputes. As global trade flourished, so did the ambitions of nations seeking to control this maritime crossroads. Overlapping claims to islands, reefs, and the surrounding waters have fueled tensions, turning the South China Sea into a potential flashpoint for conflict. The quest for resources, including fishing grounds, oil, and natural gas deposits, has further complicated the situation, adding an economic dimension to the geopolitical maneuvering. At the heart of the South China Sea disputes lies a controversial demarcation known as the Nine-Dash Line. This ambiguous line, appearing on Chinese maps since the 1940s, encompasses a vast swath of the South China Sea, reaching close to the shores of neighboring countries. China asserts historic rights within this vast area, claiming sovereignty over islands, reefs, and the surrounding waters. However, this expansive claim has been met with resistance from other nations, and is incompatible with international law, particularly the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. The Nine-Dash Line has become a major point of contention in the region, raising concerns about freedom of navigation and access to resources. Critics argue that China's claim, if left unchecked, could undermine the rules-based international order that has governed maritime affairs for decades. The ambiguity surrounding the Nine-Dash Line, coupled with China's growing assertiveness in the region, has fueled uncertainty and mistrust among neighboring nations. For the Philippines, the waters to its west represent more than just a maritime area. They represent a source of livelihood, a strategic buffer, and a part of its national heritage. The Philippines calls this area the West Philippine Sea, a name that reflects its geographical proximity and historical connection to the archipelago. This name asserts the Philippines' sovereign rights over its exclusive economic zone, or EEZ, a zone extending 200 nautical miles from its coastline. Within its EEZ, the Philippines has the exclusive right to explore and exploit marine resources, including fishing and oil and gas exploration. However, China's expansive claims based on their Nine-Dash Line directly overlap with the Philippines' EEZ, leading to frequent confrontations between Filipino fishermen and Chinese Coast Guard vessels. This situation has raised concerns about the livelihoods of Filipino communities who depend on the West Philippine Sea for their survival. In the midst of these overlapping claims and competing interests, a crucial international agreement provides a framework for resolving maritime disputes, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, or UNCLOS. Often referred to as the Constitution for the Oceans, UNCLOS establishes a comprehensive set of rules governing all ocean space, including territorial waters, exclusive economic zones, and the high seas. It provides a legal framework for defining maritime zones, managing resources, and resolving disputes. UNCLOS emphasizes the importance of peaceful resolution of disputes and promotes cooperation among states in managing ocean resources. It recognizes the sovereign rights of coastal states over their exclusive economic zones while also upholding the principle of freedom of navigation in international waters. The Philippines, along with many other countries, views UNCLOS as the cornerstone of international maritime law and has consistently called for its full implementation in the South China Sea. In a landmark decision in 2016, an arbitral tribunal constituted under UNCLOS delivered a resounding victory to the Philippines in its case against China. The tribunal ruled that China's 9-line claim had no legal basis and that China had violated the Philippines' sovereign rights in its exclusive economic zone. The ruling clarified maritime entitlements and rejected China's assertions of historic rights within the 9-line. This landmark ruling was hailed by many as a victory for international law and a blow to China's assertive stance in the South China Sea. The tribunal's decision affirmed the importance of UNCLOS as the primary legal framework for resolving maritime disputes and provided a legal basis for other countries to challenge China's claims. However, China has refused to recognize the tribunal's jurisdiction or abide by its ruling, further complicating the situation. Human cost of the conflict, a tale of two nations. Beyond the legal arguments and geopolitical posturing lies the human cost of this maritime dispute. For Filipino fishermen like Jess, the South China Sea conflict is not an abstract legal concept, but a daily reality. They face harassment from Chinese Coast Guard vessels, limiting their access to traditional fishing grounds and threatening their livelihoods. The depletion of fish stocks due to overfishing further exacerbates their plight, making it harder for them to provide for their families. On the other side of this complex equation are Chinese fishermen like Li, who are also caught in the crosshairs of this maritime dispute. Encouraged by government subsidies and driven by dwindling catches in their own waters, they venture further into disputed areas, often facing accusations of illegal fishing. The Chinese government argues that it is protecting the traditional fishing rights of its citizens, further complicating the narrative. Charting a course towards peace and cooperation. Despite the challenges, a glimmer of hope for peace and cooperation shines through the clouds of uncertainty. Dialogue and diplomacy remain essential tools for managing tensions and finding common ground. ASEAN, the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, plays a crucial role in facilitating dialogue and promoting a code of conduct for the South China Sea. Such a code of conduct, if agreed upon and implemented effectively, could help prevent misunderstandings, manage incidents at sea, and pave the way for peaceful resolution of disputes. Building trust and fostering a spirit of cooperation are essential for transforming the South China Sea from a potential flashpoint into a sea of peace and prosperity. Joint development projects, such as joint exploration of marine resources, could offer mutually beneficial opportunities and foster a sense of shared responsibility for the region. Shared waters, shared future. Embracing a vision of harmony. Imagine a future where the South China Sea and the West Philippine Sea becomes a symbol of cooperation rather than conflict. A future where nations set aside their differences and work together to manage resources sustainably, protect the marine environment, and ensure freedom of navigation for all. This vision of a shared future requires a paradigm shift, a move away from zero-sum calculations to a win-win approach where cooperation trumps confrontation. This shared future requires a commitment to dialogue, a willingness to compromise, and a recognition of the interconnectedness of our destinies. By embracing a spirit of understanding and mutual respect, we can transform the South China Sea into a sea of peace, prosperity, and shared future. A call for understanding. Our role in shaping the narrative. The South China Sea, or the West Philippine Sea, is not just a geographical entity, it is a reflection of ourselves, our values, and our commitment to a rules-based international order. It is a reminder that the choices we make today will shape the world we inherit tomorrow. Each of us has a role to play in shaping the narrative, in advocating for peaceful resolution of disputes, and in promoting a future where cooperation and mutual respect prevail. By educating ourselves about the complexities of this region, by engaging in constructive dialogue, and by advocating for peaceful solutions, we can contribute to a more just and sustainable future for the South China Sea, the West Philippine Sea, and the world. Let us choose the path of peace, understanding, and shared prosperity for the benefit of present and future generations.